Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about the Final Fantasy IX Remake because we have been talking a lot about the leaks of this game for, well, unfortunately years now. But everybody kind of assumed that if the 9 Remake actually exists, it'd probably come out in 2025. This is the 25th anniversary. In fact, a lot of other Square Enix games have even been doing a bunch of crossover events for this entire year. Tons of stuff with Zidane and Vivi and everybody showing up. So it seemed like we were maybe going to get a shadow drop, but here we are in December, a couple days before Christmas, and it never actually showed up. But today, a new leak came out. A new leak about Final Fantasy IX Remake, and one that to me signals that it definitely still exists. Let's talk. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, the original leak that's been coming out is the fact that this was going to be a two-part project. There was going to be a Final Fantasy IX Remake game and also an anime. Now, the reason this is important is that a bunch of these big companies lately, because games are obviously so expensive to make, they've been trying to do these like multimedia blitz where you don't just release a new game, you also release a movie or a TV show in tandem with it, you know, right? Like we got the Silent Hill 2 remake, and now coming out here in 3 weeks, we're getting a Silent Hill 2 remake movie. They're supposed to sort of advertise each other. Oh, you like the movie? Go buy the game. Oh, you like the game? Go watch the movie. Well, there's been talks that they want to do a Final Fantasy IX anime. Now, we knew that this sort of existed. There'd actually been a lot of leaked art, some stuff like certain animators and stuff at certain studios. You could actually see like Final Fantasy IX stuff in the background. So we knew this existed, but suddenly the development stopped. Well, now it's back in production. It's targeting a 2028 release date, which to me signals that we're probably not going to get the 9 remake until at least 2027. But here's the other thing about it. So according to this actually listing of it, it's a sequel to the game story. It's 13 22-minute episodes aimed at 16 to 13-year-olds. Essentially, it's going to be like an anime, in my opinion, very much in the vein of 9 itself, where 9 is emotionally accessible. It's not too gory and violent, even though it does have a lot of heavy themes of war and death and multi-dimensional demons and stuff, right? But the thing is that from the very start, the leaks about this have been incredibly interesting. Now, unfortunately, you'll see this is a tweet from 2023. Here we are 2 years later, over 2 years since the tweet came out. These were the original leaks that pretty much every major leaker of RPGs has confirmed that the 9 remake does exist. We've actually seen it in the Giga leak that happened years ago from Nvidia, but tons of people have said that essentially it is in development. It's made specifically to target sort of the existing Final Fantasy fans. It's not really branching out too much. They're not trying to change the story a bunch. They're not doing like Final Fantasy VII where it's like a whole trilogy. No, it's still turn-based combat and it's nearly finished. Now here's the downside. Nearly finished, said 2 years ago, makes me think this was unfortunately definitely not true. Now, some people have been afraid because there have been multiple rounds of very devastating layoffs over at Square Enix. And in fact, Square Enix has even publicly said to their own investors, don't worry, we've canceled expensive projects that we don't think we're going to make their money back. They canceled, I think, about $100 million of projects to essentially write it off on their taxes. And a lot of people, myself included, are terrified that Final Fantasy IX got the axe, that apparently in whatever early stage of it, it seemed like maybe they decided to axe it. To me, the fact that they're going back and finishing the anime tells me that maybe this was correct. Now, what's funny is that I do think there is a possibility they have just been sitting on this. I do think the potential for Final Fantasy IX, if they had completely axed it, they would not have done all these crossover events, right? New Final Fantasy IX, another Eden collab, is this week's cover of Famitsu. This is this week, December 7th, 2025. They would not be doing this amount of advertising, this amount of outreach, this amount of hype for the entire year if this project was just quietly internally axed. I truly do not believe that they would spend so much money, so much time, so much hype for nothing. This is brand new Final Fantasy IX art. Why would they make this? Why would they actually spend the time to bring back the original artist to do this if it literally is just for likes on Twitter? I just truly think there has to be more than that to it. But also, we have seen in the past certain times where a company has completely finished a product and they sit on it for years because they know it'll sell better in a particular quarter. Nintendo has famously done this, and in fact, even Square Enix has done this a couple times where they've completely finished an RPG and they go, okay, well, we don't want to release it too close to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 or something. They want to make sure there's a proper gap because, let's face it, as games have gotten so expensive, people typically buy 2 or 3 games a year. So if you know something giant is coming out like GTA 6, you don't want to release your remake near GTA 6. There's a good chance that even if it's the best remake ever, it's going to bomb. And I don't think that Square Enix can really afford any bombs, right? Look at these crossover events. There's so much stuff. This is real. This is official. These are like crossover events that they're doing with other games. Look at the amount of animations, the artwork, the update. To me, it shows the fact that not only does Final Fantasy IX Remake definitely exist, it signals to me that they want this to be the hit it absolutely deserves. The creator of Final Fantasy is this guy named Hironobu Sakaguchi, and he's pretty much talked about the fact that he left Square Enix around the time that Final Fantasy X came out. He basically made the Final Fantasy movie, Spirits Within. It totally bombed, and he politely made his exit. He realized he'd really hurt, well, at the time, Squaresoft. Squaresoft merged with Enix essentially because of the financial failure of the Final Fantasy movie. So that's the reason Square Enix exists. But he has said on record that he kind of considers this to be the best Final Fantasy, the perfect culmination of all of his ideas. Retro aesthetic, cool big magic, his obsession with crystals. He managed to put everything that he thinks Final Fantasy is, down to its core, into 9. Bringing that back would be so awesome. Every emotional beat is earned and crafted to perfection. Outstanding art direction. Ozma. Ozma's such a bad boss. I will die on that hill, right? But my thing is just the fact that I keep thinking about the fact that if this is real, I hate the fact that it's coming out in 2028. I feel like, to me, this signals 2 separate things at once. One, I truly am 100% on board that the Final Fantasy IX Remake is exactly what the leak said. It is a turn-based game with voice acting, with cool new updated graphics, but still the old school game. And simultaneously, I think it kind of signals that it's probably going to get revealed, maybe even shadow dropped in 2027, which isn't exactly the news you want to hear in 2025. I'm still taking this as the biggest W possible. I am a massive Final Fantasy IX fan. I have played it so many times. I still think it's maybe my 3rd favorite Final Fantasy. For me, it's Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X, and then Final Fantasy IX. But seeing it come back, I think I'm incredibly curious about whatever form it takes. How do you feel about Final Fantasy IX Remake? Are you as excited for its possible existence as I am? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. And I hope you guys have a very good Christmas. I'm probably just going to hang out, probably just play some video games, right? That's kind of the best, though. I kind of enjoy those times where I just have to be a lazy blob. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.